Changes by Jim Butcher is the 12th book in the Dresden Files series. 546 pages and 49 chapters. This is a detective novel set in modern-day Chicago with the main character using magic. It's a cold open with Susan, who calls Harry and says, "Our daughter has been taken." So, big fan of Susan. I was rooting for her the whole time, and it turns out that she is a major focus of this book, and I was a big fan of that. I was all about that. The Red Court has taken their child together, and they named her. Susan named her Maggie after Harry's mother. The Red Court of Vampires is one of the three courts, and they have been the focus of this series in that they've been the battle between the wizards and the Red Court of Vampires. I did like the hit squad that shows up. They are kind of Red Court vampires, but it was Esmeralda and Edward and Esmeralda or something like that. They showed up with hit squads to take out Harry and Susan as they ventured through this story. And I did like that it was kind of like, there's the main vampire court, and then they kind of have like mercenaries or like lieutenants who go after Harry and Susan. So that made a lot of sense to me. I liked that part, and I liked that Molly gets more involved. She's an apprentice, she's still learning, but she's got a lot of cool, different, unique abilities that she's really good at. And I thought that would play in at some point, and it did in this book. Really neat. She's good with veils and illusions and that kind of thing. It was just really cool. Lots of fun seeing her do that stuff. But my favorite part of this whole book was when Harry and Susan are being chased, and they open a portal to the Never Never, and they don't know where it leads, and it just turns out that it happens to be the lair of the Arrow King, the Goblin King. He is a fairy king, essentially, and he said the next time that he saw Harry, he was going to kill him. So he just shows up in the middle of his dining hall by mistake, and it was a lot of fun. What better way to settle this than with a duel? So the vampire mercenaries and Harry have to do battle, and that scene was a lot of fun. I really liked that battle. It was very entertaining, very unique. So learn more about Harry's mother in this from Harry's fairy godmother. She is a winter queen noble, or winter noble of the fairy court of winter, and she had some secret passages through the Never Never. So that's how Harry uses it to jump around and investigate in this. And I really liked that the fairy godmother offered that ability to Harry. We don't know what the side effects are yet. For Harry's mother, it was sleeplessness, but for him, it hasn't shown up yet that we know of. There was a lot of interaction between the fairy godmother and Harry, and I liked that. I enjoyed that. She got to use her power. We saw that more often, and he even stumbles upon the other side. He goes from Earth, modern day Chicago, to the Never Never from his apartment, and it is his fairy godmother's garden. So she's defending him from the other side. I really liked that. The giant centipede, that was pretty intense. We also meet the CEO of Monarch Securities, a signatory of the Accords. So he is like super tough. Been around for centuries, supposedly trained Merlin, like the Merlin. And just lots of interesting combination of characters in this one. So Susan is a half vampire in that she's been turned, but she hasn't fully turned yet. So in order to become a full-fledged member, you have to then feed on a human all the way to death. So she hasn't done that. She's drank blood, but she hasn't killed anybody yet while feeding. So she's kind of in between human and vampire. And she's part of a group that's fighting against the Red Court. There was all kinds of different interactions. Major General Toot Toot, that was a fun one. He works for pizza. That was a lot of fun. And let's see, the three swords of the cross were in play. Very unique in that battle, right? Sonya's been going it alone for quite a while, and it was neat to see them all used in battle. Harry is also kind of in between a rock and a hard place in that he is injured and has no one else to turn to, but he needs to be able to take on the Red Court of Vampires on their home turf and take back Maggie, right? His daughter. So that's what this whole book is about, and he struggles because he's been through all this and he's been chased by mercenaries and all that stuff. So he's wounded and weak, but he still needs to take on the vampires and, rescue Maggie. So he turns to Mab, the Winter Queen of Fairy, and offers to become the Winter Knight. In exchange, she doesn't let him, she has to wait a day for him to rescue his daughter before becoming the Winter Knight. So, final battle, Red King, very cool. Lots of allies, right? He doesn't do it alone. He doesn't, win the day by himself. He has lots of allies. I liked that. We also learned more about his history with Ebenezer and his mother. So very, very, very revealing at the end. But another part that I really enjoyed was the getting to the final battle. Harry's fairy godmother turns them into an animal, and they are able to travel quickly. A pack of 5 or 6, individuals, instead of taking 2 hours on foot, it took them 15 minutes. So that was really neat. Let's see. I really liked this. It was action-packed from beginning to end, and it just didn't let up at all. I liked this part here. Faith is what you do. It's about aspiring to be better and nobler and kinder than you are. It's about making sacrifices for the good of others, even when there's not going to be anyone telling you what a hero you are. Faith is a power of its own, and one even more elusive and difficult to define than magic. Yeah, there was a lot of different ways that, people could have given up in this book, and they made it through on their faith, wanting to rescue their daughter, believing in each other, lots of good stuff. But this was like almost a straight up fight and on the enemy's home turf. So really good book, highly recommend it. And this really kept the series going. This is a long series, and this got me excited again about reading the next couple of books. Like, I've always enjoyed reading them, but like I really, really want to find out what happens next. And I hope there's dragons in the future. So changes, and buy your books used if you can.